Hi guys, my name is Mr. Kurugolo. We are going to investigate on um, biology notes, a section known as reproduction. By the end of the lesson, we are going to be able to describe the process of reproduction as it occurs in living organism and see the variations of the process as we go through the lecture itself. What then is reproduction? Reproduction is part of the characteristics of living organism by which new organisms are going to be produced to ensure the perpetuation of a species. Essentially, it means that we are not going to have only one form of an organism existing in a generation, but it continues to exist with time because we are able to transfer its genetic material from the parents to the offspring by various processes. These processes can include sexual or asexual reproduction. What then is asexual reproduction? The ability by some organisms to produce a new offspring from just a part of its body is what is referred to as sexual reproduction. Uniquely, we are going to have the new organisms that is formed being genetically similar to its parents. Why? Because we are going to use a plant part of its parent, like its roots or its stem, to form the new organism. And the environmental conditions that were conducive for the production, for the existence of the parents, are going to be the same in which the offspring is going to exist. In plants, some of these processes that are involved in asexual reproduction include cuttings, rhizomes, budding, and many other forms. In this slide, we can see the different ways in which asexual reproduction exists in nature. Like we have combs being used to make new cocoyams, we have bulbs being used to make onions, and we have the tubers of Irish potato being used to make new plants. This form of reproduction has its benefits and also it has its problems. The benefits include that it is going to produce a true to type organism, meaning that it is going to be genetically and sometimes physically similar than like its parents. This being said, it means that we are going to pass down the required desirable characteristics from the parent to the offspring. And this will assist those organisms that are sterile to reproduce because there's not going to be any need for mating. There's not going to be need for any gametes to be used, of which we are going to explain this later. We also are not going to see any dispersal of the offspring which are just going to exist in the same environment in which their parents adapted to. Said, we still have problems that these organisms are going to face that reproduce in this way. They are not going to give us variety, which then is going to cause them to be susceptible to the same conditions that affected their parents. It might be the diseases that will affected the parents are going to affect the offspring. We also are going to see the undesirables that we did not want from the parents continuously being passed down to the offspring, and the inability to resist to diseases and lack of dispersal can affect the new organism because they're going to compete for the limited resources that are available in the area in which they are going to exist. Another form of reproduction is sexual reproduction. This involves the use of fusion of sex cells that exist in parents. The male has its own sex cells and the female has its own sex cells, and if they fuse through the process of fertilization, they are going to form a new offspring. This resultant offspring will have genetic material that is not similar to its parents, because it's going to have half of the material coming from the male and half coming from the female. And so, in some cases, this will show them performing better than their parents. The gametes involved in the process will contain half of the material referred to as haploid, and then after fusion it reverts back to the normal number of genetic materials or chromosomes that are required for a offspring to exist, which can be referred to as diploid. Organisms involved in this process are shown in this slide. Like asexual reproduction, we also have this process of reproduction having its pros and its cons. These include the formation of more offspring over a short period of time, which is an advantage if you are like doing pigs, if you are in agriculture, which will create a litter of 10 per given period of time, which is a benefit to agriculture people. Because of variation in the genetic makeup, in some cases we are going to have the offspring perform metastasis, which is being better than their parents. That variation also can also make the resultant offspring be genetically superior, in that they are going to resist the diseases that affected the parents. And because of that, the seeds that are going to be produced during this process can be used through dispersal, and so reducing competition between the offspring and the parents. But some of the problems involved in social reproduction include the undesirable characteristics now existing in the offspring because they're not identical to the parents. Also, because they are different, they might not be conducive to grow in the same environment in which the parents grew in. And the process of creating an environment for reproduction to occur is cumbersome. The offspring themselves are going to take a longer time for them to mature as compared to those that are grown asexually or that are reproduced asexually, which take a shorter time to mature.